Yo, 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 guys, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of the Warriors Invitational Podcast. It's your boy Gautam, my boys Matt and Chuck. Gentlemen, welcome back. It is been a week and a half or so since we last spoke. A lot of stuff going down. We are officially in the last week of the NBA regular season. Last few games as we count down the inevitable play-in Warriors action. But we got a lot of hoops left, man. A lot to discuss today. But as always, boys, how we doing? How we doing? Welcome back.
We're thriving, man. This is like sports heaven for me this kind of year. We're recording while we got men's national championship game on. We had a sick women's national championship game. All these NBA races that are going on. I'm lucky enough to go see counting down a couple days before I see the Nuggets and Wolves duke it out, maybe for who decides the number one spot in the West. That's going to be sick. Oh man, it's just we got baseball back too. Like,
Giants, man. That
Paul,
Giants. We get an
I'm a
offseason Giants
friggin'
spot, man. We
slob.
got a team.
Yeah, oh, 100%. Like, oh, it feels so good. Just looking at my phone and seeing like what's going on tonight, and I'm like, oh, so much. Like, yes.
Back, baby. We're back. Matt, how you doing?
Dude, can't say much different, man. Doing well. The tournament's always a great time, man. It's been great. The girls' game's been great. It's also just right now, like there's outside of Boston and like the bottom feeding teams, every game has mattered so far in a way that like there's a playoff race literally from 2 to 10 in some variation in both conferences. Even look at the Eastern Conference right now. It's like the Hawks are the 10 seed and they're separated from the Bulls by a game. The Heat and the Sixers are a half game apart for 8 and 7. Like it's awesome, man. Obviously the Warriors are where they're at. We'll get into that, but as far as sports goes, you know what more can we ask for, guys?
Best time of the year.
Mm.
Best time of the year. And you guys said it, man. With a lot of playoff races, playing races, and the Warriors are right in the middle of it. Probably the biggest one, I'd say in the league right now. You got the Suns, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Lakers, and the Warriors duking it out for really just seeding. The top 10 are set in some variation. It looks like the Mavs are probably gonna stay in that 5 spot, but Phoenix, Pelicans, Kings, Lakers, Warriors, and a lot of these teams play each other in some variation over these final few games. So a lot of stuff, and we'll kick it off right here, man. The Warriors Lakers tomorrow night. Just feels like every big game that we've had, whether that was last year in the playoffs, obviously with the series and the playing game in 21, just the double OT game, another couple fun ones this year. It feels kind of fitting that the Warriors season really kind of comes down to this game tomorrow night. If it feels like for the most part, if they can win, they've got a legitimate shot to move up, whether that's 9, 8, maybe 7, who knows? But a loss tomorrow probably just cements them in that 10 spot. And either way, they're going to be seeing either this Lakers team again another week, or hope maybe down the line in the series again. But just kick it off right here, man. Chuckster, start with you, bro. Just give me a little preview for what you're expecting tomorrow night, and what does tomorrow's night's game mean with a win and a loss, in terms of what this team can, where this Warriors team can end up going into the play-in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all laid out for them. Like, you got to win out at this point to crawl up in the standings. Um, I'm pretty sure that's like mathematically true. Like, if they lose any game, they're locked in at 10. So, you know, must win is, I think, a word that should be used for this because not only is it, better to have home court advantage for a win or go home game, but the Warriors have not had a good time playing down in Staples over the last couple seasons. So it's one you got to have. I think the thing they got going for them, getting Steph some rest, getting a win without him, that's huge for the confidence. I mean, obviously Utah has won 3 of their last 25 games, so you'd expect to win that regardless. But yeah, no Steph, no Wiggins, Draymond going out, holding his back. We haven't really seen any serious updates, so I'm assuming that was kind of just a precaution to keep him out, but something to keep an eye on. Um, so hopefully guys are rested, ready to get up for this game. And then on the other side, Lakers, I mean, they were coming in on a win streak, but LeBron resting, AD going out of the game. They ended up kind of getting their doors blown off, which happens when you lose probably like the most important duo relative to like the rest of a roster in the league. Like those two are just so far ahead the rest of the talent they have. So I think they're catching Lakers at a good time. And man, this one's going to be a dogfight because LeBron's going to be rested. He's playing some unreal basketball recently. He had like a 9 out of 10 from deep game recently, which is just crazy to see. um,
Can we
but
just clear up LeBron? We should LeBron and AD are going to play. We got to be real, right?
Yeah,
Those guys
they're
are
not
they're gonna play. Like I don't doubt that they're gonna play, but like the combination of being rested and AD just getting pulled out from a game, like they're not. No one's 100% at this point in the season, but they are clearly not like running at full speed right now. So I think this is going to be an interesting game. It kind of feels like he's my go-to X factor right now, but it feels like a huge X factor is going to be Trace Jackson Davis. They've been starting him while Kuminga gets back up to speed. I wouldn't imagine that they throw him back into the starting lineup for a game this important, especially considering the way he played off the bench against Utah. So having a guy that's going to contest this big Lakers team on the boards, help turn the tide on the glass, someone who's going to be a lob threat in behind AD, someone who can let Pod, Steph, Clay work in the mid range, especially Chris Paul, because we all know the mid range is pretty much all he's got left at this point.
Oh, hey, my guy's shooting like 45%
Yeah,
threes.
he's been hitting some
All-star
threes,
break,
man, lately.
No, that's fair. I should have clarified. Like once he gets into once he
we don't talk bad about Chris Paul on this podcast, okay? That's not a thing we do here. Okay.
I will clear it up. When Chris Paul gets on the drive, the rim is not exactly where he's headed. I think we can all agree on that.
Okay.
Okay. He's looking to work a guy onto his hip and rise into that mid range shot. So I think it's going to be important to have a guy like Trace getting in, getting lobs in behind him. And I think you're going to need a big game from Pods, man. Like he's been great recently. I think the energy's really kicked back up. And Lakers, they have their struggles, but they're really deep on like solid guards. And you need the bench matchup to get tipped a bit by a guy like Pods, and especially with having Kuminga out there, I think that's going to be really important for those two guys to put up a huge performance off the bench. So I don't know. It's weird for the first time, maybe the first time all season. I'm going into a game that it feels like the Warriors really need to have, and that they probably won't be the favorites in, and I actually feel good about them. So I don't know. Maybe it burns me, or maybe they're just putting it together at the right time. What do you guys think?
Yeah, actually, I wrestle with this obviously because every single time I predict a good thing to happen, I am just like the Antichrist when it comes to the Warriors with this stuff. So I apologize, but I feel the same way. Just the Warriors are rolling right now. Everybody but Steph is playing like their best basketball. Kind of seems like funny enough, and Steph's been solid enough as it is, right? Draymond is, and that was the Dallas game last week, the one they won. He was just like 2016 DPOY Draymond. He's been that way for most of like the time since he came back. It feels like. Chuck, you brought up the Warriors bench. It's kind of where I felt this game's going to be decided in a lot of ways because we know for the most part, like you're going to play pretty close to even in Steph's minutes, right? The Warriors bench with Chris Paul and Kuminga and Pods, that all of a sudden feels like a force. And Clay is also rolling on that note. Don't want to leave him out right now. The guy's been, I think he leads the leagues in threes since the All-Star break. Yeah, this is a must-win game. You said we all said we expect LeBron and AD to play. I think there is a scenario the Warriors lose a game and are not the 10 if they win the Laker game. So I think if they and the Lakers both end up with 46 wins and the Warriors win this game, the Warriors have the tiebreaker. So they would be the 9 seed. But otherwise, though, for them to get 8, they have to win out. The Kings have to go 1 and 3. The Kings have a shit schedule, though. They have the Pels, they have the Suns, and they have the Thunder. And I think 2 out of those 3 are back to back. I think they might all be home games, but
they're at
it's
OKC.
just the thing.
They're at OKC tomorrow, and then the last 3 are at home. But back to back Suns, Pelicans, Suns, and they finish the Blazers.
It's huge. It's all huge. So it's just again, I can't say enough. This is crazy. Like every team right now, besides again those bottom feeding teams, the Blazers, for example, the Jazz, they're all like everybody's playing for something. The Warriors, I'm gonna keep saying they might beat the Lakers this week. I feel like if they are gonna beat them in the next 2 weeks, this kind of needs to be the time because in a one-off against a team that has LeBron, that has AD, that's gonna get. We got to be realistic. That team's gonna shoot 30 free throws, 40 free throws in a game. Um, this is just not a team you want to see, right? I don't want to see of all the teams, the Lakers, in any kind of one-off game, unless the only scenario where I'd be like semi okay with that is the Warriors. Lakers jump to 7, but if that's what happens, the Warriors will not be at 8, right? So they'll be at 9 or 10 in that case. But no, must win. Steph also needs to show out. Like they're gonna need everything they have from everybody they have because it's the biggest game of the season. This makes or breaks the last week. It's going to decide any possibility of you know locking in a 7 or 8 seed before 7's out of the question, but 8 seed before the season's done.
Yeah, no, 100%. I actually, I feel, I'm with you guys. I feel pretty good about, going into the Staples tomorrow night. I think the Warriors are playing some of their best basketball. They're pretty much, I think Wiggins has said probable, GP's probable. He's been playing. JK's back. So, love the starting lineup too with Trace in there. They've been, outside of that Mavs game that again they had an open or semi-open Clay 3 to win that one as well. So they've been rolling
Oh
the
my
last.
god, man.
That was a tough one.
Jesus.
That
That's a
ended.
game where somebody bet the house, somebody saw Luca wasn't playing, and they were like, "Oh my god, I don't watch the Warriors a lot, but Luca's not playing," and somebody lost half their fucking life's worth, man. Because it was
Should have known it was a PJ Washington masterclass. Just loading. But no, I'm with you. I honestly, I'm fine either way. Like if they win tomorrow, obviously great. I think the goal should still be to get to that 8 spot. Give yourself 2 cracks of getting in. Ideally, you win that first one, you're the second seed, and hopefully play a T Wolves or a Thunder and avoid the Nuggets on the other side of the bracket. But the main goal is to get in there. But even if they lose, which pretty much cements them to that 10 seed, as long as the Lakers move up, for me it's either way. I'm with you, Matt. I don't want to see them in a 1-game playoff, especially if it's on the road. We've seen that in 21. Obviously heartbreaker of a loss, and then obviously last year with the playoff series. It's not a team you want to see. We can go back and forth with Lakers fans and LeBron fans and whatever, but if there's still 2 people in the NBA that I don't want to see in a 1-game playoff, it's Jokic and LeBron right now, and still, which is speaks to the rivalry that we have with this guy. It feels like at some point he's been the reason why we either haven't won a championship or have been bounced from the playoffs. As painful as that is to accept, but it is true. And you're playing a Kings team that who has, like you guys said, man, a tough final 4 games. I think they have 1 Blazers game, and then 3 other the Suns, the Pelicans, and the Thunder. So for them to go 1-3 and the Warriors to go 3-1, if you're going into Golden One, a team that you played pretty well against even last year, this year blew a couple games early on to the
well. Can we just say though, the guy they blew a game to? Respect to that young man. First of all, Malik Monk though is out
He's
until
out. He's
late
out, and
April if he
The
comes back
Kings
at
are
all.
hobbled. The Kings are hobbled. And look, I think if you're at 10 and you get the Kings in the 9 and 10 game, I'm assuming the Lakers win that first game in the play-in, go into the playoffs. You play a Pelicans team that has been playing really well, but again, just a young team that hasn't been there. It's a win or go home. And in that scenario, the Warriors are rolling. The Pels, we'll see. I'm willing to take that chance over a 9-10 game against LeBron, AD, and the Lakers. So for me, it's tomorrow. Obviously, a huge game. I think if the Warriors win tomorrow, I think they have a legit shot to get into 8. Because like we said, I think they'll have the tiebreaker of the Lakers with a win tomorrow. And so a tied record with them. Very possible. The Lakers have 2 pretty easy games after us. They got the Grizzlies. And they got the Pelicans as well. Never mind. So that again, they could maybe finish out 1 and 2. Kings have the tough one. Ideally, you're playing the Pelicans in that 7-8 game, and you can get in. So a win tomorrow night just really opens up a lot more. Kind of what that Mavs game would have done. I think If they had won that one, you're outside shot to maybe get a 6 seed. But again, you need some more stuff to go your way. But the Warriors they play Utah and Portland, so those should be two gimmies. So you really just got to lock in on this Lakers game and the Pels at home on a back-to-back. So the path is there. That's all you can really ask for, is just with how the season has gone. Obviously with all the ups and downs. I think it's hilarious that the Warriors are most likely going to finish with more wins than they did last year. Just goes to show how good the West has been this year, but also, I guess we'll get into the last year, this year conversation towards the end of this pod, but it just kind of goes to show that some of the downside of this year, but like how good of a team they still really are, and can still get like why I think all of us feel like if you just get in with a chance in a series, anything can happen. So but the biggest thing now is to just get there, and yeah, tomorrow night's gonna be a fun one. It's always fun when you got some implications against a rival. So look, I expect everybody to show out tomorrow, and I'm with you guys. I feel pretty good.
I want to ask you guys. It's not in the outline. I'm going to throw you a curveball here, but besides the Lakers, obviously, right? The Kings. I think I kind of agreed. I mean, again, I'm sorry, Draymond physically represented to me how I feel about Sacramento last year, as far as my confidence in them beating the Warriors. Between the Pelicans and the Suns, who is the scarier matchup for you guys in the one-off?
I think it's the Pelicans, man. Like,
wow, Chuck.
I mean, the Suns have been like kind of putting it together recently. Bradley Beal has broken out of his like year-long haze and is starting to play some good basketball, which definitely like changes some of the math on them. But I mean, KD's gonna come in hunting for blood. We know that, and it's hard for them to have an answer for Devin Booker. But man, no one has an answer for Zion Williamson right now. Like, they just went, hey, what if we put the ball in his hands all the time? And now he's just
so what are the odds
dominating.
What are the odds Pods is willing to take life and death matters into his own hands and take a few charges with Zion?
I wouldn't put it past Pods, man. He's gonna do it.
He's gonna turn into dust like Peter Parker at the end of Infinity War if he steps in front of that man like that. Oh my God, dude, it would look horrifying. If there's a guy crazy enough to do it, it's probably Pods, because he's thrown himself in the path of some big boys this year. But
that guy, he's gonna have a 7-year career. But yeah, Chuck, keep going.
Yeah, I think the Pelicans are definitely scary, and especially like, Draymond, he's clearly fighting through some back stuff right now, and they would need him playing like at the absolute top of his game in rotation and in help to deal with Zion, because I mean, whoever you put on him, whoever you put guarding him is just like a turnstile right now. So it's about getting big rotations. I do think Trace could help with a lot of that. Draymond talked a lot about that recently, where he said he feels like Trace's presence as like an actual rim protecting threat opens him up to like take some more chances, be more aggressive, like not play conservatively, so he doesn't, like completely throw off the entire defense if he misses, because then he knows Trace is back there and can affect shots at a pretty high level. So they do have some ways of dealing with it, but I'm just scared of the way they're playing right now. And Phoenix, like, it was interesting. Like, I heard about it from Tim Legler. Like, he had a good segment where he was on JJ Redick's podcast, and they were talking about teams in the West. And he said the only team I'm comfortably ruling out right now for winning a playoff series is the Phoenix Suns. And his entire reasoning was that the games he had watched recently, like, they would go out there and they'd get hit in the mouth and just crumple. Like, for whatever reason, I'm not going to speculate on what's going on there, like, psychologically, but there's not a lot of fight in them right now. So, like, if we were to come out and have like a hot start against the Pelicans, I'd still be like, well, this team's, they're absolutely fighting. They're full of confidence right now. If we came out and had a good start against Phoenix, like, they'd just go, oh, well, We've seen this. Let's just roll over a
Well, we
bit.
can at least rule out, starting out hot. That's not going to happen, Chuck. We know that's.
That's
We know that's.
yeah, that might be wishful thinking there. But even if it's like second quarter and Warriors are like getting up to double digits, like we've seen them so many times this year, like get up, and then it just like feels like the clock is ticking until that lead's gonna evaporate. So if that's kind of the way the Warriors are trending right now, I'd rather play the team that's just gonna like go inside their shell and like resign themselves to losing instead of like the young, energetic, super hungry team that clearly just like wants it as much as anyone right now. The Pelicans want it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Chuck. I'd rather see the Suns as well, and I kind of we're kind of ruling them out in this whole run, but they have a home and home against the Clippers, play the Kings and the T-Wolves to end it. Not saying 0-4 maybe like it's impossible, it's a possibility. So definitely another team to consider to play. So yeah, I mean I think ideally I'd rather see it. I think it goes I'd rather see Sacramento, Phoenix, New Orleans, LA in that order of how this would shake out. But I think it's sick how everybody's playing everybody right now to end it. So a lot of movement within the standings. But yeah, I'm with you. I just think that this Warriors team fully healthy, fully loaded. I think we didn't have Draymond got ejected from the one game, and I think he missed another one of the Suns games. And obviously that Steph game winner was one of the best games of this year, just the back and forth. So I think it'd be fun. I think we'd play well against them. The Pelicans are a deep team, even without. Is Ingram still out? Because he coming back? What's his status?
That is a good question.
Because if
Looking it up.
Ingram's
Let me
coming
find.
back too, like that's another reason to just fully want to avoid these guys and let them get into that sixth spot. So I mean, who knows? The way it's shaking out, man. We might want it. We might want the Pelicans to go on a little winning streak here and beat the Kings, the Lakers, and let the Suns kind of crumble. But again, like it just kind of goes back to the thing where like the Warriors fully have opportunities to make some strides in this last week. So. Starts tomorrow night, but yeah, if you gave me an option, I'd take Phoenix and I'd take the Kings and the Suns in a 2-game playing scenario.
So Ingram is not
Uh,
back yet.
yeah, they said yesterday that he is getting back to on-court workouts. He'll miss the next 2 games at least, and we would be the third game after that. So I think that's kind of the maybe spot is maybe he returns against us.
Got it.
But
So in that case, the Warriors absolutely get the he's not missing a single beat at Brandon Ingram because that's what
Yeah,
happens.
he's scoring 35 on like 10 for 12 shooting and just coming back with a
yeah,
bang.
he's gonna drop like 40 on a minutes restriction, and we're just gonna be
100%.
like punching the wall.
But
So go ahead, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna throw this one out at you guys, man. So we're going through some of these scenarios and some of these games left. What's your actual scenario, your prediction of how this ends and your best case for the Warriors? Because like we've said it, man. Like all these teams are playing each other. There's gonna be it's really gonna be whoever comes out on top of this mini little tournament that they've got going on with these 5 teams. What's the best case for the Warriors, and what do you think is legitimately gonna happen? Matt, I'll let you kick it off, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think the best case scenario, and this is kind of gonna be my response to that last question as well, is 8-7 with the Pelicans. So listen, I totally get everything with Zion. He's been Zion this year, or this last 3 months at least. But looking back at that first game the Warriors played a while ago, where Draymond played, he did as good a job on Zion as anybody's done. Granted, again, that was pre-Zion resurgence this year, so there's that. I also refuse to be intimidated by a team that has CJ McCollum playing a premier role. Okay, I'm sorry, it'll never phase me. Um, Additionally, I know Draymond will never try to punch Valanciunas because I mean Valanciunas looks like he should be fighting John Wick. So I'm just going to leave that there. But no, jokes aside, I don't want a team like Phoenix or LA, and the reasons for that, I mean, a KD explosion or a Booker explosion are out of all the explosions potential that are even possible or the highest potential. I think I'd choose Booker going for 40 or KD. Those two combining for 80 points is just like hey, wrong night, wrong time. That could totally happen. They're not deep, obviously, but it's one game, right? It's Kevin Durant. We have our thoughts on KD. There's love and all that stuff, right? It's Book. We all love and respect Book. Those two guys, the two guys I want to dodge. So my it's outside of LeBron and AD, of course, for all the reasons we talked about earlier. But I just truly think an 8-7 game with the Pelicans, I feel like you feel okay. I feel like that's not a bad scenario. The Kings aren't jumping to 7. It looks pretty likely that the Suns or the Pelicans are going to be 7 almost certainly, unless they both lose out, which I don't know if they play each other again. I don't think so, but so it's possible, but I would say it's unlikely. So yeah, I'd say 8-7 Pels Warriors is my ideal. As far as predictions goes, I'm gonna be totally frank. I have a hard time thinking Sacramento is going to go 1-3 over their next 4 games. They play 3 really good teams. We all talked about that schedule. It's OKC, it's Sac, it's Phoenix, and every one of those teams has something to play for. But just statistically speaking, for a good team, and Sac they've been faltering, to be clear. To go 1-3 is unlikely, and also for being realistic, if I'm being realistic to myself, at least I'm not going to speak for you guys. I don't trust this Warriors team to go 4-0 ever. If you gave me the odds, you said, "Yep, do you want to bet this team going 4-0?" I would say absolutely not. There's not a chance. Okay, I'm not going to do it. All right, so no, I'm saying they're at 10. I'm okay with it. My guess is if things go how the universe tends to make things go as of late, as the Lakers end up 8, we get Sacramento 9. That's not a bad way things work out. If you can go Sacramento then New Orleans for on the road twice, that's as good of a scenario for 10 as you could hope for. That's kind of where I'm imagining this goes.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's really kind of a punch to the gut that Kings are going to have the tiebreaker no matter what. That really sucks. And they also have the tiebreaker over the Lakers. So like if those two teams ended up tied at 8, then Lakers would end up being the 9. Which makes it even likelier that they clinch that and it would be Warriors Lakers first. So my prediction is I do think Warriors come out on top against the Lakers. I think they're winning tomorrow. I think that they'll have enough momentum off of that. Like Lakers are going to look at this and be like, "Oh God, what's happening?" Like Warriors have a couple easy-ish games to close it out. Plus, if Pelicans are not at full health, that could really help. So I think they're in good position to get home court for that 9-10 game. And then I really think the ideal scenario is Kings lose the 7-8, go on the road against the Kings. I mean, not only are they missing Kevin Huerter, granted, not Kevin Huerter's best season, but Malik Monk has been just a menace, and especially to the Warriors, it feels like he just kills us every time. So if you're coming in, Warriors coming off a win, beating some demons off against the Lakers, Kings losing in that not my best. Not my best. Beating some demons away against the Lakers. Then, I think they'd come in with some momentum. They'd be going into Sacramento, which we know like they really get up for games, but there's going to be some Warriors fans in that crowd too. They always get up. They travel well for that. And then if you're the Kings, you're looking like, oh, we had a great year last year, and then the Warriors came in here and ruined it. And then they come into this season like things are going really well. They get a couple huge injury punch to the gut. And then you're like, oh, great. Here come these guys again. They're better than the last time we faced them. And it's going to feel like it's all happening again. So I think that would be the ideal scenario. But yeah, what I think is going to happen is Warriors squeak their way into the 9 seed. And then, man, who knows what's going to happen from there.
I'm gonna go one step further because I've been looking at these upcoming games for all these teams while you guys were talking. I think the Warriors get to the 8th seed, and I think they play Phoenix. I'm gonna be completely honest with you because I think Sacramento goes 1-3. It's hard for me to see them beating the Thunder, who have something to play for, the Pelicans, who are right there with them, and the Suns, and I think they beat the Blazers in that stretch to close it out. The Pelicans, I think we have to be Pelicans fans at this point, but they have the Blazers, the Kings, us, and the Lakers. Very possible, especially if we are able to beat them and they can go 3-1 with the win against the Lakers and a win against the Kings, knock them both down to that 9-10 game. And if we're able to beat them, then obviously we leapfrog both the Kings and the Lakers. So the Pelicans can do us a lot of favors this week just by beating the Kings and the Lakers. I think if the Kings going 1-3 and the Lakers finishing 1-2, obviously with us as one of those losses and playing the Pelicans, a very possible scenario. And the Suns going 2-2. They play the Clippers, the Kings, and the T-Wolves. Beat the Kings in one of those Clippers games. And so if they go through 2-2, the Pels go 3-1, the Pels are 6, we're Suns are 7, we're 8. And again, you just give yourself 2 cracks at it. I don't know if I prefer to play the Suns. I see what you're saying, Matt, but I think we've got the defense to perimeter defenders, at least with Wiggins back, JK, GP, all these guys, to at least contain a Booker and KD kind of masterclass and try to beat them on the road and sneak in as a 7 seed to play whoever that might be. But the more I look at this, the more a win tomorrow night will fully convince me that 8 seed playing the Suns. But again, Warriors just got to take care of business. It's right in front of them. But if you had to tell me what I predict is that I think that's also the best case scenario. I think that they're peaking at the right time. They're playing some of their best hoop. They're healthy. Pelicans have been 4-6 in their last 10. The Kings obviously struggling. Lakers have been playing really well. So we'll see, man. I don't know, but I think if I had to, I'm not gonna say bet on it because I've honestly been losing a few bets lately. But if I had to guess, I'm gonna say Suns 7, Warriors 8. Kings 9, Lakers 10 because of the tiebreaker. And yeah, let's boogie. 2 shots to get in.
Love it. I just know here's the feeling I'm expecting is like when you make a prediction and you're immediately wrong. You know that feeling like somebody asks you a question, it's like wrong. And we have this big long prediction. That's how I feel. I'm gonna feel on Tuesday
If they
night.
lose
But it's
tomorrow,
something.
it's all moot.
Oh, but it was yeah. Warriors
You're a
lose
10
tomorrow.
seed.
It's
Just hope the Lakers can leapfrog the
yeah.
Kings. At that point, I might be supporting the Lakers over the last 3
Oh,
games.
I'm rooting the hell out of the Lakers if they win tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. But for the Warriors, best case, the path is there. Just gotta take care of business and go in and take these 2 games against the Pels and the Lakers. But we'll see. It's gonna be a fun week of basketball and standings watching. And as now that you're guaranteed a spot and at least getting 1 playing game, like that's all you can really ask for. So it's gonna be a fun final week. But before we close it out, guys, we had a fun discussion that kind of popped up in our group chat and kind of wanted to bring it here. But I think Steve Kerr was asked about it yesterday between last year's team and this year's team. Obviously, last year's team finished 44-38 with the 6 seed. We know how last season played out. Got the win against the Kings, and then obviously brutal loss to the Lakers in the second round. This year's team on pace for more wins. They're currently 1 win away from matching last year's. If everything goes to plan, how we're saying, they finish with 2 or 3 wins more than that. So let me throw this to you guys now. Which team is better? Last year's team that went to the second round, or this year's team that has been fighting and clawing to stay in the top 10? But the floor is yours.
I don't think it's particularly close. Actually, no, that's bullshit. What are we doing? These teams are both like 48 when teams at best. I say this team though. I say pretty confidently. Um, at least as far as the floor goes, this team has a higher floor by a mile. I think having 9 or so real rotation players, their starting group right now, plus CP, Kuminga, um, Moody, GP, even Looney for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes a game recently has been producing. The guy gets his hands in every goddamn rebound. Last year's team was just this like they were like the Nazgul, just like bound together by hatred and malice. You know what I mean? Just like forced to live a life that nobody wanted them to, and they didn't want to. This team is much more like they at least like each other. I can't really do this whole. I couldn't do that last season again. I'm sorry. So for me, it's like it's pretty obviously. I don't say it's obvious. This team's just good. I think again, Draymond having missed
17
25 games, whatever he missed, 17 games. It's 17 to 25 games, right? This team being, they're going to be a 46 win team at worst. That says a lot. I also just listen. Steph hasn't been as good this year, and this team is still producing. I think it's not crazy to say that. They're all every time I say that, I get worried that that somebody from Twitter is going to pop up in my closet and beat the shit out of me while I'm sleeping tonight. Okay, like every time I say anything semi diminishing about Steph, but it's the truth. He's not been as good this year, and that's fine, right? There's all kinds of reasons for it. This team is still produced. They have the guys to cover up for it in a way they didn't last year. They have actual wing depth this year. Wiggins of late has looked as close to 22 Wiggins as we've seen probably. He had moments last year as well. I don't want to neglect those, but no, this team's good. They have good backup guard play for once. And I'm sorry, we don't like disparaging either of these guys too much in this pod. James Wiseman, not here anymore. I forgot until recently Wiseman was on the team last year. And then I remembered it was like a repressed memory hit me in the mouth. Okay. And then I love Jordan Poole. I love the moments he provided in 22, especially. I'm sorry. I have never enjoyed watching any basketball player less in my life than Jordan Poole in the playoffs last year. Like there are a few things you could make me watch, Brad Wanamaker with my eyes stapled open, and I would probably choose that over the 22 Jordan Poole playoff, or 23, pardon me, Jordan Poole playoff experience. This team has good players. One of the keys of being a decent team, if not a good team, is having or playing mostly good players, right? You're not playing any duds. And this team right now, for all their faults, for all the issues they've had all year, you're not playing any duds, right? There's no Anthony Lamb. There's no Jordan Poole. Who was the backup guard last year that we all couldn't stand? Did they have one last year? Oh, you know what? No, scratch that. I would welcome Ty Jerome back with open arms. Okay. But no, this team's good. They're a good team. If things break their way and Draymond doesn't get hurt for however long he gets hurt for, I can't believe I'm saying this. If Chris Paul hadn't missed a month or so with whatever, who knows, right? This team could be and probably is hovering between 48 and 55 wins.
Even if you toss all that out, man, if they don't blow 14 games or how many,
sure.
like 12-point leads or something, like, but yeah, sorry, go for it.
No, 100%. No, I think that's a great point to add. They've blown a lot of leads. So no, for me, it's this year's team. I don't think there's some last year's team. If you want to say higher ceiling, that's fine. Jordan Poole was a more explosive offensive player than anybody they have right now. So I guess you kind of get that from him. But right now, everybody on this team is peaking in a way that's close enough to last year, in my opinion, and the players around all those guys are better. So I take 2024 Warriors over the 23 Warriors. Both absolute beacons of mediocrity as far as I'm concerned, but here we are.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think the funny thing is that really, I mean, when you get out of, like you said, the Nazgul bind that held this team together last year, which, boy, if that's not an 11 out of 10 Lord of the Rings reference, I mean, you're not going to find it elsewhere. But
you're welcome.
No, my hat is off. My hat is off. So, I mean, obviously, Chris Paul coming in for Poole, that's a huge change in terms of professionalism, taking care of the ball. He's not going to tank the vibes or just completely forget to play defense. Yeah, you lose a lot of that scoring punch, but man, you just look at some of the areas that this team managed to improve at with not many ways of getting improvement. We've said it over and over again, but having 2 draft picks and having them both be immediate positive contributors on a playoff team is crazy. That just doesn't happen. And especially when one is the 19th pick and one is the 57th pick. It's just nuts. And you also look at the ways that helped this team because, yeah, backup guard was not a bright spot last year. Ty Jerome was doing some cool things, but, he had his weaknesses. Pods is coming in. He's bringing the opposite of Jordan Poole's effort. He's just everywhere. He's hustling around defensively. He's getting these offensive rebounds. He drives and he gets walled off and he doesn't just give up the play and turn around and chuck a mid range. Like he's got real crafty footwork. He'll try to find these weird little hook shots and flip layups that go in or make the right kickouts. He's just a breath of fresh air. And then, as much as we love Kavan, like Kavan is not the guy he was last year, where he just single handedly obliterated the Kings on the boards. Um, and now, with him being a bit diminished, you have Trace Jackson Davis stepping in, being an absolute monster, being probably one of the better, like true rim protecting and lob catching vertical threat centers that they've had since JaVale, which is pretty wild, all things considered. And then you look at it, Wiggins, like he's going through a lot of stuff. We all know that. Did not have a good year last year. It's felt worse this season. And then to counterbalance that, you have Jonathan Kuminga taking the like, hey, maybe this is a guy to holy shit, this is a guy. Like almost seemingly overnight, like with that insane midseason stretch he had. He's been playing really consistently. He goes out with injury, he comes back and he just like dominates on the glass, drives all over the Jazz, looks like an unstoppable force going downhill. So it's just been
he
a
beat off all the
really,
demons.
yeah, just just beating them away. Um, but I mean, you look at it like they made moves. They made moves to improve in the offseason, but so many things that should have led to their decline have suddenly changed because of this development from the youth, from the recent draft picks. I think this team's so much better. Like, Steph having his rough stretch. Um, Imagine what this team would be last year if they got like this recent Steph run post All-Star break. Like they would have folded. I don't think they would have been able to get out of the first round the way they did. Steph had to go God mode just to squeak out Game 7 against that Kings team. And yeah, the fact that they've put together, what are they, 22-10 in their last 32, and Steph has been not himself for like 2/3 of that run. I mean, that's crazy. So I think they're a better team by a lot.
Yeah, no, I
Gotham, what you
fully
think?
fully agree with you guys, man. I don't think I could add much more to why. I will blame last year's team for a lot of like the bad taste in some of the season as well. Like just I feel like last year just the road record and obviously the vibes were off with the whole pool Draymond stuff. So coming in and then obviously this year with the blown leads and shit, like it just I blame last year's team for a lot of just like the I guess pessimistic views that we've had for this year, and right at some points rightfully so. Like this team was 19-24 and not a good team at certain points of time this season. But I agree with you. I think going into the offseason, we'd said that the goal for the roster was to elevate the floor of this team, and I think they did that very well. Chris Paul, like you guys all mentioned, man, Chris Paul, Pause, TJD, J.K. Moody, making that leap, upgrading off of JP and Anthony Lamb and all those guys. Like so much this team, like last year's I've said it multiple times to you guys. I think last year's team with this year's bench and this year's roster wins the title. And I especially with just the way the West was last year, just the way they'd match up to the Lakers. I think the Lakers were the only team that were really like a tough matchup schematically wise. But if you add in like a Trace and a Pods and JK playing the way he has this year, with how well the starters played last year, obviously with Loon and Steph having that heater and Clay keeping them afloat, averaging like 25, 26 a night. So feels like again like last year was just kind of annoying just with the number of young guys, the roster construction, all of it. They still kind of went to the second round and had a shot to go co-play Denver, blew a couple games in that Lakers series. So no, I'm with you guys, man. I take this year's team in a heartbeat. Going to be really fun to see what they're made of in this last week and going into the plan. But if the thought process of this team was to lean into being vets and vet heavy team, guys that have been there and done that. I think they have a good mix of that right now. Obviously with your young guys being a couple years in the league now, and your rookies have been the most ready rookies that you've had since, arguably like Draymond back in the day. So a lot of good stuff for this team, and they have an opportunity this week to kind of get rid of all the demons and beat them off, beat them off all the demons that they had gone through this year. And if they're able to finish this kind of comeback and finish in the top 8 somehow, I think it just speaks volumes to what this team's made of. But just get rid of the demons this week.
I
But
do want to take a quick moment, while we're on the note of last year's roster, to disparage Dante DiVincenzo, who is
oh man,
shooting like
if he played like he did last year, oh, we're totally winning title.
I loved Dante last year. I thought he was fine. Playoffs, he was not great at all. But I'm just saying, this guy has had like multiple games heading 8 or 9 threes this year. I will not forgive and I will not forget. Okay.
Man, he's still my favorite ginger. Paz has a little bit more work to do, but I
Whoa.
loved him at Villanova. I loved him with the Bucks. Was stoked when we signed him. Love Paz. He's probably like a year away from being my favorite ginger, but still Dante. Shout out Dante. Great guy.
Wow, no love for Nico Mannion, huh?
Never, his Pinnacle High School highlight reel had me. I was a fan back in the day, but after that, nah, man. Shout out Nico. Hope he's doing well in Italy or wherever he's playing. But as always, guys, big week, big stuff, big game tomorrow night. Before we get out of here, as always, anything you guys got coming, Chuckster?
Wait. Before we get out of here, Gautam, one of your favorite things that you always do that we need to do now: scores. Score prediction, please. Come on.
Let's do it. All right, I love it. Let's do all right, Matt, start it off, man. What's the score tomorrow night? And
110-90 Lakers. I'm
wow.
kidding. Let's go with Jeez, man, I'm gonna fucking hate myself for this tomorrow. Let's go. I'm gonna go 108, 103 Warriors. These new rules, low scoring games, relatively speaking, obviously. I think the Warriors defense shows up. And I think the defense shows up. I think the Chris Paul minutes are a big win, and I'm taking the Warriors by 5.
Hell yeah, Chuckster.
Man, you almost plucked the numbers right out of my head. I had 101-97. I think it's going to be a dogfight, but I think we're due for a classic Steph fourth quarter. And yeah, the defense is going to have to step up. I think they step up in a big way in a huge game. And it's going to be. I hate that I'm predicting the Warriors to win a close game, but it's the gut feeling. You got to go with your gut sometimes.
I love this one because Warriors Insider predicts Steph Curry locks up Clutch Player of the Year versus Lakers. Love this. Good.
Love it. Hey, if that's what it takes, man, I'm down for this award. I still think it's kind of a hilarious award, but regardless, I'm going 115-108 Warriors. I'm with you guys. I just think they're a better team right now. I think the Lakers they've been rolling, but the Warriors have been rolling as well. So obviously a lot to play for both teams. It's going to be, like you said, Chuck, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be another Steph LeBron masterclass. I'm looking forward to this one. But yeah, let's God, man, just after everything, let's have one stretch just to close it out and finish with 47 and 35 and yeah, get in the top 8, man. But as always, again, before we get out of here, Chuckster, Matt, anything you guys got coming up?
I might have a little something cooking in the next couple days. We'll see. We had a fun. I love April silly season when there are teams that like the season's over for them or guys are resting players, and then there's always some random fools who come in and just you go, hey, is this a guy? Is this not a guy? Maybe this is a guy. So hopefully get that out before we get these playoffs rolling, and I'm sure I'll be able to put together a rather lengthy preview for whoever we end up playing in that first play-in game. So
Love it.
keep an eye out for it on theswishtheory.com as always.
Chuck, give us your kind of under the radar prospect who's I don't know any prospects, but who's a guy that the draft heads might know kind of, but that you're very high on right now after the tournament especially.
Ooh, man. I don't think they didn't make the tournament, if I remember correctly. Uh, I am pretty high on Jonathan Mogbo. Shout out to my guys, Matt Powers, Draft Pal, and Nima, the boys for putting me onto him. USF Dons, representing the local boys there. He's a really fun, like, big, super athletic, a little bit undersized, but has tons of skill. Can do a lot of different things. So he's a guy I really like. Um, and I'm also, man, I'm a sucker for the guard who just gets to the rim all the time. Maybe can't shoot. It's like Sharif Cooper part two, but I love me some Ajay Mitchell out of UCSB. Like that dude just rocks. He's like maybe 6'2", doesn't have a perimeter shot at all, and managed like a 500 free throw rate. So, whew, man, that's my guy right there.
Love it. Looking out for him.
Love it,
Will
boys.
do.
Love it. Chuckster, we'll stay locked in. As always, guys, thanks for watching, following us. This year it's been fun having all the guests on. Regardless of how far this Warriors season goes, we're gonna be pumping out the content throughout the playoffs, this postseason run. So any guests interested, always, we've kind of been slacking on that for the last couple weeks, but once playoffs start back up, we'll open up the floor to other teams, other people that want to hop on and just talk some hoops. But until then, guys, go Dubs. Big week. Finish the season strong and 4-0. Let's lock in that A seed. But until then, guys, peace.